This is Veteran State of Mind, and I'm your host, Geraint Jones. Before we get into the show, quick word about our sponsors. Really appreciate if you listened into this because these companies are all either veteran-owned and operated or they work with the military and veterans. So please keep your ears open for a couple of minutes because they make the podcast possible. Talking to support, guys, if you could do me a favor, I would really appreciate it if you could make a post and spread the word about this podcast. I know some of you have been doing that, and I'm massively thankful to you guys for doing that. I love doing this podcast, and from what it sounds like, you guys like listening to it. You keep coming back anyway, you filthy slugs. So if we could grow it, make a post, tell a friend, and let's keep spreading the word. Today's episode is made possible in part thanks to the Development Society. Get humbled with DevSoc. DevSoc is a platform for motivation, inspiration, and wavy merch, which is cool clothes and other stuff. So basically, when you're walking around, people can see that you're Ali and wavy. Ali and wavy. I think wavy's kind of like Ali, but it's like, it's a bit more of a surf kind of Ali, right? Yeah, I think that's what we're going to go with. Right, it's run by serving blokes, and they're a bit different. Wavy vibes, unusual thoughts, and stoic philosophies are what drive them to strive for the very best. What's stoic philosophy? It means you stop fucking complaining and get on with your shit. All right. The last tee sold out in 20 minutes, so their stuff doesn't stick around. If you're looking for motivation in fitness, work, or in life itself, then check out my guys at the Development Society, a community of like-minded people who want to grow. And you use the code GRJ10 if you buy any of their wavy merch, and you can do that at devsoc.shop and at the Development Society on the gram. This podcast is also brought to you by none other than the Royal British Legion. Are you like me and an attention-starved whore? Well, good news. You can now get your kit off for a good cause, courtesy of Tribute Inc. It's a project that shows how serving military and veterans remember comrades through tattoos. And I think that's really important. And when you combine art and the act of remembrance, you come up with something very special. And that's now covered in Tribute Inc. All right, so how can you get involved? Well, go and check out their posts on social media at the Royal British Legion. And you can visit the exhibition at the National Arboretum in Staffordshire until the 1st of December. Then it's going on the road. I will keep you updated. All right. But get to the National Arboretum because it's a special place to go anyway. All right. And now you've got an extra reason to go there. So go check it out. Staffordshire. If you're a veteran, you need help with your finances. Maybe you're fucked up. You're not very good at managing finances. Let's be honest. We all need a bit of help with a lot of different things in life. And the Royal British Legion are there to help you. Even if what you're looking for you don't think they cover, give them a call anyway. What's the worst that can happen? They tell you fuck off. That's not going to happen, is it? Going to be polite. They're nice people. So give them a ring. The Royal British Legion. All right, check them out. Fuck me. This podcast is made possible in part thanks to Zulu Alpha Strap Company. Bombers watch straps for Ali blokes. It's a veteran-owned company, but you don't need to be a veteran to have a cool fucking watch strap to go with your timepiece. You might have spent a lot of money on it, on your watch that is, so protect it. And even if you've got a shit watch, get one of these, and then you won't look like such a cheap fucker. You can see these watches on the wrists of front-line operators around the globe. Where can you do that? At Zulu Alpha Straps. Go over there, take a look at some kinky pictures, then maybe even order yourself a strap, you dirty bitch. I won't forget it, that feeling of acceptance. I can be the guy that's looking back with knowledge as my weapon. Cause it's inside of you and it's inside of me. The real killer in depression is to suffer silently. The journey's rough, the road is long. You've just got to accept. You haven't got to see the whole staircase, just the first step. Mike, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Happy to be here, mate.
Yeah, cheers for coming down, pal. So for those of you who don't know, Mike is a PT in the British Army, still serving. He's got a good online presence, which is how we got to know each other. And I tell you what, mate, why don't you just pick up the reins, tell people a bit more about yourself, and then we'll talk a bit about your army career before PT, and then after, once you got into the fitness side of things.
So, mate, I'm originally the Parachute Regiment. I got selected for the Royal Army Physical Training Corps in 2016, I think. So I passed that course in 2017. I now am based at the Army Foundation College up in Harrogate, where I specialise in adolescent physical development. And that's pretty much it, mate.
Well, that's interesting, mate, because we got a lot. I know there's a lot of youngsters listening to this. So we'll definitely drill into some of the Harrogate stuff. Let's go back and talk about your para days to begin with, though. When did you join? What kind of?
So at 17, so I was meant to start, funnily enough, Harrogate in September, but I got told that if I push it back by a month, start on my 17th birthday, then I can go to adult entry, and I managed to deploy to Afghan in 2008. Right. So I joined at 17, dead on. Week 1, day 1 depot. I got dropped off at the front gate by my dad, got told not to bother coming home until I've passed. That was a rough night, rough 7 months.
Was your dad ex-para himself?
No, he wasn't. He was he was a Kingo. He was
right.
Yeah, so a home Liverpool
so that's
regiment.
two langs for people that are two langs for your youngsters out there.
Yeah, so and funnily enough, I found out the other week I'm getting promoted to staff sergeant as well. I'm getting posted to
the Kingos.
Yeah, getting posted back to his old regiment.
That's cool. They got well, so like it's just for some people might know they got a bit of notoriety, the Kingos, haven't they? Because it's a Scouts regiment. Even when they were out on Telek 9 when I was out there, took an absolute battering. I'm sure it gave a battering too, but took one.
Yeah.
But there definitely was like a bit of a kind of, let's call it a mystique around them, which was they were just fucking savage. And I'm pretty sure it was during the pre-deployment training up in Catterick that one of them got in trouble for driving over a CO's car in a Warrior or something like that. So if you're involved in that incident, you want to let us know. But no, fair play, shout out to Langs. They took over from us in Afghanistan as well, Chindik Company. So I know they were busy bees, mate. So I'm sure you'll have some characters on your hand when you get out there, mate.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's it. They're all probably lieutenant colonels if they're still in. So
was your dad an officer?
No, he went through as a soldier, but I know a few of the blokes who he grown up with, who I knew from being a pad brat, that they're like majors and lieutenant colonels.
So how was that, mate? How was that growing up with a dad in the infantry?
Didn't see him.
Right. That's not an answer I was expecting, but it makes so much sense.
It does.
It makes so much sense.
And back then, it was a lifestyle. Back then, I see the army now as a job. I have it as a job. I'm as we know, and I'm sure we'll get on to. I'm leaving. Just had a little girl, and there's reasons behind that. But the job back then was a lifestyle, and they move around every 2 years. So I've lived all over the place, and followed him around. And funnily enough, we'd go and live somewhere, and then he'd go and deploy somewhere. So we'd be in a sunny place in Cyprus, and then he'd be wherever. I think actually when we was in Cyprus was probably a rough time. Iraq was kicking off, I think. So we hardly seen him then. But yeah, I mean, you're moving around in different places with close friends and stuff, and being a pad brat's pretty good. You know, you're in most of the places you're in the confined offences, so you get let out, you go running, you go playing in the trees and stuff as a kid, and you're safe.
Yeah,
it's obviously not as easy as that anymore, and it's probably where the PlayStation era is coming from, because parents won't let the kids out. So
yeah, so it's just really interesting that though, mate. It's like you said, I've never really thought about that, but thinking about it now, it's that change, because that's one of the things they talk about, the breakdown of the regimental family, that there used to be this really strong regimental family, and we always think that like, oh, that's because they've got rid of a lot of the regiments and they've amalgamated some, but really, you think about it, it makes sense to think like it used to be the culture as a man was. You have like, because one of the things that kind of annoys me is when we judge things with a standard now, we judge things from the past with a standard now, right? So we're like, oh, he wasn't a great dad because he doesn't do this X, Y, and Z that someone does now. It's like, well, at the time, that wasn't expected of anybody, you know, and it wasn't asked of anybody. And like, if you're not asking that stuff of someone, you can't. Like, people didn't know any fucking different. It's like, you know, being critical of people for using fucking leeches to deal with medical problems. Like, they're doing the best. Do you know what I mean? We're doing the best with the tools on hand, improvising, adapting, and overcome with the fucking leeches. But yeah, I think it was probably a lot more of a boozy culture as well, innit? Don't get me wrong, still is that side of things. But that, like, you know, my dad wasn't in the army, but you know, it's I think his kind of generation too, it was you finish work and people go to the pub and stuff. I think that's the experience of most people who are in their late 20s, 30s, and definitely above that. What did you find that like there was some kind of expectation of you to go in the military and follow in his footsteps, or was that kind of something you just chose yourself?
Well, I approached it to my dad when I was in my final year of high school, and I said I wanted to do it. And he said, well, you either have to go in the paras or you go in the Marines.
So what was it? What was the thinking behind that then?
I don't know. That's what he said. And I was like, well, which one? And he said, well, if I was to pick one, if I was to go back, I'd do the paras.
I gotta say, man, I agree with your dad. If I was to do it again, you know, and don't get me wrong, I always say this with a caveat of I love the guys that I was with. So in my head, they come along with me, right? But if I was to do it again, I would do exactly the same as what your dad said. I would go paras or I would go Marines. And the reason why is, from what I can tell, like, don't get me wrong, this will differ from like, you know, regiment to regiment and stuff, but it just seems to be that they push the best out of, like, they push more out of you. They push you to go for other things. Whereas what I've seen what I saw in, you know, in Royal Welsh, and I've heard it from other lads in other like line infantry battalions, is that if they've got a good NCO that wants to say go for selection, rather than enabling him and trying to get him and be like, oh yeah, great, you know, go for selection, we'll help you, they fucking throwing up roadblocks because they're trying to keep that bloke. You know, and that what ends up happening a lot of the times is that bloke will end up just leaving completely and going on the circuit. And that's why I really recommend, if anyone's listening to this and they're thinking about joining something like a combat arm, I would recommend personally the Paras and Marines, because they're the ones you're going to get on ops. You've got a higher chance of getting on ops, as in, because they're usually spearhead. They're usually spearheading something. So you've got a higher chance of going on ops to be like, if it's a short op, like say Sierra Leone, you know, there's not many people that have been through there. But then the other side of it is like, if you want to go Pathfinders, like I didn't know, mate, until I did the book with Dean Stott. I didn't know anyone in the army could join Pathfinders. He told me that. I was like, wait, what? What?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I didn't know that, mate. So anyone listening right now, if you're serving and you want to get outside your regiment, Pathfinder selection is open to anyone. I thought it was fucking paras.
No, it's a platoon in the paras, but you if you pass that, you can transfer over.
Yeah, I had no fucking idea. I had no idea. So I was pretty pissed off when I found that out. But yeah. So I can understand where your dad was coming from there, mate. To be honest, that's definitely something I agree with. So
he probably thought I wouldn't make it. So he probably thought I'd fucking sack it after a couple of weeks and come home.
What was your phys like as a kid? What was like? Were you a team sport guy?
I played football. I played a decent level of football. So to be honest, mate, I just didn't take it seriously.
Right.
Week 1 day 1 depot hit me hard. 17, the youngest there by a long shot. The other youngest lad.
So this is at Catterick, was it?
It's at Catterick, yeah. So this I've just halved my depot time, but probably doubled my workload.
Right.
So because obviously
there's no learning curve. Like the beginning, you've cut off the beginning of the learning.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be honest with you, mate, it was hideous. And I don't beat around the bush with that when I tell people who are joining now, and I play an okay role in people who's joining now, with some of the stuff I'm doing at Harrogate, and I'm brutally honest with them that it's hard, and if it wasn't hard, then everyone would do it, and everyone would earn that extra couple £100 a month, and it's
So sorry, mate. What is it like? Give us an experience on that first day of something that was honking.
I'll get some people in trouble here, mate.
All right, well, not okay. So like, if there was a make-believe land where this stuff happened, we'll call it Schmarashmepo.
Yeah.
What happened at Schmarashmepo?
You just get thrashed. I mean, it's all the same stuff as you know what everyone else is going through at Catterick.
Yep.
But there's just no room for error. So in the night time, you are just getting thrashed, and you'll go into the corridor. And I know it's changed now, so I can speak about this because it's different now, and we treat people differently. But back then, you'd go in and they say, right, 2 of you are leaving today. And I think there was 65 of us or something on in my depot, maybe a bit more. And there was 9 originals at the end. So they're not asked about binning people. And I think that's good. And now there's like a 2-year waiting list to join the paras. And it's really healthy. And the same with Harrogate. I had 90 people on a course called Op Achilles, which is the build-up for the parachute regiment. And it's in a healthy place so that you can afford to bin people. Yeah. And when you can afford to bin people, you know you're only taking the best people forward.
So there seems to be a bit of a disconnect here then. What's going on with the army recruiting numbers where there's waiting lists and stuff, which is fucking fantastic. The other thing as well, though, mate, let's say that right now the army like is struggling to make numbers up in the infantry, and there's a 2-year wait for the paras. There's a part of me that thinks the army's needs to come first before the individuals, and that they should get filtered into the infantry regiments, and then they get to go to the paras after they've done their time there, rather than having them sitting on a couch at home. Why not get them into the system?
So I've got a few answers to that question. There's and we had a meeting about it in the mess a few months back, and I raised this question again. Go back to the original point about the army's. It's no longer not really a lifestyle. It's more of a job now, and the demographic of the soldier has changed. But also, if you look at the country and where the camps are moving to, you're almost shoehorning what type of person you're getting in. So there's going to be no camps between, London and Harrogate. So your social demographics going to drop there significantly. And then
so what you're saying is like, so basically the middle of the country, there's no bases. The bases are at the top of the country and they're at the bottom of the country.
Exactly. So I'll give you another example. So I was at Depot teaching the parachute regiment and the infantry soldiers in 2014. In 2015, I can remember the Scots Guards, loads of the Scottish blokes who I knew quite well, moving to London, and they was putting a Southern regiment up in Catterick. And the attrition rate went ridiculous. Most people signed off. Next year, 2 Lancs, Scousers and Manx, they're moving to Aldershot. So they're all signing off. Yeah. And I can't understand. I do not understand. And it's a drama, and it is. And one of my caveats to this is that those people who go from, and I've got this theory, that those people who go from Harrogate to Catterick want to join the paras. They then go do phase 2 in Catterick. Those that leave or fail, leave the army. Those that leave or fail, who they don't fail, but those that leave in Harrogate, who would end up thinking, I don't want to join the paras anymore, I want to join something else. Yeah. They stay in the army. So I think that needs to happen early, because I know in Para-Reg Depot, it becomes, you get ingrained in it. You are literally, it's that or nothing. Right. And that's where the problem comes in terms of we can't push them out into another unit. And I know they are working on it now, because I was in a meeting about it, that there's got to be more work done in pushing them to another unit, because it's not to say that they're not going to be very good in another unit, because I'm sure they would be. It's just at that moment in time they wasn't ready to join the paras, and that's by no mean feat. Like, you shouldn't be disheartened by that.
No, exactly, mate. Like, you can have a fucking bad day at the office. You can
exactly,
like, and the other thing as well, though, mate. I think fucking other regiments have got to do a better job of branding themselves, because look, I don't think you'll mind me saying this. The fighting that every other regiment did in Afghanistan was the same as the fighting the paras did.
Yes.
Like, if you're fucking Anglians, if you're Royal Irish, if you're Royal Welsh, if you're the Scots, whatever, everyone's fighting the same enemy and everyone was in the same contacts. The paras and the Marines, their branding, fucking fantastic.
The Marines do it fucking really well. I mean, their adverts and stuff.
They're bang on, mate. And I think, like, right, let's be honest, right? Because I know some people like this campaign. I wasn't a fan of it, and this is why. If you are a young fucking lad and you're like, I want to be, or a woman now, you're a young girl and you want to be, I want to be in the fucking paras. I want to be in the paras because they're fucking nails, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna jump out of planes. I'm gonna fucking kill bad guys. And then you can't do that. And they're like, oh well, you can go to this one. You can go to this regiment. And you're like, fuck that. They're the ones that fucking tell snowflakes to join. I'm not going to join the fucking snowflake thing. And I can totally understand why somebody wouldn't want to do that. Like, because it's you're not looking at them with any kind of parity. It's like it's like the snowflake campaign on one side, or the fucking steely-eyed dealers of death, on the other side. And I can understand that. One of the things, mate, in terms of location, I think, I think the problem is now they started to do this thing of basing people around where they're from. It's very hard to get out of that system once it's begun. I look at Americans, right, because I know like a lot of American military guys. Not one of those guys had any expectation of living anywhere near where they were from,
because they're still in the lifestyle.
Exactly, but but here's the thing: I feel like they are a lot happier because they're in that. Because it's like, let's say that a lot of these guys might be from, let's say they're from Texas. They're based, I'm not going to use California as an example, because who wouldn't want to be based in California? But let's say they go to Okinawa. They go to Okinawa, one of the Japanese islands, You know, they go there, they're based out there. Like, because we don't have Germany anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's no Germany.
It's minimizing significantly.
Right. So, but it used to be a lot of people would be based in Germany. So you're in the regiment. You don't go home in the evenings or anything.
And had a good time.
Yeah, and you had a good time. And like when I was in, it was the guys had just come back from Germany, and it was Germany this, Germany that. Who I was trying to think who I was talking to the other day. Oh yeah, one of my friends from the Marine Corps. He said there was a huge difference when he was based in Japan with the Marines at the American Marine Corps. He said he felt like he was in like the World War II Marine Corps, where everyone like lived and died, you know, the Corps, and you know that was your family. But when he came back stateside, he said that broke a lot because most of the junior ranks, they lived on base, but a lot of the senior ranks lived off base, and it became like a Lord of the Flies kind of situation with the junior ranks. Whereas in Japan, like the senior ranks had spent their time interacting with the others, and it was just this one big cohesive kind of fucked up family. And I think there's a lot to be said for having you being stationed away from home, because like, look, man, when it comes down to it, I suppose it depends. Who do you? Is it better to have 10,000 people serving who see it as a job, or 8,000 people serving who see it as their fucking life?
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, but the drama is no one's deploying, so you're not willing to live away from home and your family.
Yeah.
If you're not doing a job that you enjoy.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the problems with the armies, mate, because it's one of like people throw around conspiracies about why the Iraq invasion happened. And I think one of the reasons is it's just very hard to have an army and not use it. You know, it's the same as anything. If you've got a set of golf clubs, you want to swing them, don't you? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of a problem. If you're in the army, you want to do what you're doing. At the same time, obviously, as a human being, you don't want to just start invading everybody. Because you think back through history, mate, an army's never been a defense force. An army's always been used defensively. You know, it's like you didn't have an army sitting around like we have now and just sit on your ass. You'd be like, right, let's go and break off a new bit of fucking territory for the empire. That's what happened. This is the first time in history that we've had like large standing armies where people are just not, you're not fighting for the sake of it. It's a weird fucking time. It's a very weird time to be a soldier, honestly. It's probably the weirdest time throughout the last, like all human history. You're a soldier, you fight.
Yeah.
Year in, year out, end of.
But that's not happening now.
No,
so
it's not.
I'm not willing to live 10 hours away because I'm not getting my fix.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe this is something that fuck knows what's happening with Brexit. I don't even follow this. I've asked friend of the podcast, HR podcast host Hugh Keir, to just give me a text when Brexit's over because I know he follows it. I'm not getting into it. But what I would say is maybe in the future we need to start looking at the British Army as a British Defence Force.
Yeah.
Which changes the complexion of things massively. Because if you have a defence force, then it makes total sense for people to be based by their hometowns.
Yeah.
And it's a job that you just turn up for. And if aliens come down or Pablo Escobar's ghost comes out and invades Britain or anything like that, we have got a defence force. Yeah. But as it is right now, mate, we're sitting in this weird little phase between the two of them. The public are sick of war. The public didn't want to go into Iraq or anything. So there's no public support. There's no fucking money. And like, no, we're not going to go into Brexit. Don't worry about that. But what we will say is, has there been anything else discussed in the last few years? No. So I really can't see that there would be any kind of like operations on the scale of Iraq and Afghanistan coming up on the horizon. Like if you look at periodically how often wars happen, you know, there's usually a bit of a gap in between because people get sick of it. But more to the point, it costs a lot of fucking money. And you know, when you've had, some people will argue that it's not a failure, but in the public's eye, I think everybody thinks Iraq and Afghanistan was a failure. It's then very hard to then whip up support for another one. You know.
So there's no war.
Yeah.
There's no money.
Yeah.
You live away from your home. How do you make a soldier happy?
I don't know if you can, mate. You have to pay him more, but you can't pay him more because there's no budget for it. Legalize prostitution. There you go. You got the answer here, right, mate? Cheers for coming in. We sorted that out. No, mate. Honestly, I don't know if you have, because if you wanted to, like, and I've said this before, like, you know, I believe this. Some people, and it's not like a psychopath thing. it's, a lot of it is the way that we're brought up and the movies that we see and the things that they tell you about Queen and Country and stuff is you want to go out and serve and you want to go out and fight. So if that's denied to you, it's fucking blue balls, but it's blue 100%. Balls, but we're fighting. Well, you've been to Afghanistan as well. How have you found it? We'll go back and talk about Afghanistan in a second, but how have you found being a peacetime soldier to a wartime soldier?
At first, I struggled massively, especially when I went into the physical training world. I genuinely struggled, and it's only now that people are speaking about it that you realise how much you did struggle. And fortunately, my wife played a huge part in helping me through that transition. Genuinely, wholeheartedly, couldn't thank her anymore for what she did for me. She stood by me through some shit times, and I really did struggle. And now I've just had a little girl, and everything's changed, mate. You got to be careful what you wish for. I've always said, and I've gone away training people, especially when I was up in depot. Now teaching the people at Harrogate, and I've always thought that the moment's notice, there's an inkling that I can deploy, I'll go back. I want that. I need that, because it's like a drug, isn't it? You are fixated in it. I was obsessed. I wanted to be back in. There's something in Afghan that I wanted. I wanted to be back there, so much, more than anything, and I would have gave everything up for it. But now, I question it
because the daughter.
Yeah, it's the little girl. It's she changed everything, and she's only 6 months old.
But you still think about it. Even with a daughter.
It gets me going, and listen to even with a daughter. Yeah, that's a scary thing. And you listen to Dean Stott. I listen to his podcast review, and it fucking turns me on, mate. It gets me back in.
Well, the idea of going to selection.
Well, we'll talk about that in a bit, but it's just being back in that green world.
I'm the same, mate. Like, to be honest, it's one of those things where, I went for a walk the other day and I picked up a few bits of rubbish. Yeah, send my fucking knighthood in the post. And I picked up a few bits of rubbish and I thought, you know what? I actually contributed more to the planet on that walk than I did in 6 months in Afghanistan. When I'm honest, when we're honest about it. Because the problem is, mate, like, I'm the same. Like, I fucking go back in a minute. But the truth is, for us to have that highs meant that someone was having those lows, though you can't even imagine. Like, and I think as I'm getting a bit more empathetic, because I used to be like, well, fuck them, fuck the locals and stuff. That, they should be on our side. Like the world's black and fucking white. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which it fucking isn't. Like, imagine, I'm trying to put themselves in my shoes now. Let's say I'm the fucking local, and they're like, the Taliban come over and they say, oh, if you tell them there's an IED outside your house, we're going to cut your mum's head off. Well, you know what? I don't know those soldiers. I know my mum. You're not going to say anything. And like, and I realise that now. At the time, you're like, why the fuck are they helping us? Well, it's because they don't want their fucking families to be butchered. Not just like giving a bit of a hiding, butchered, And I think about that, mate, and I see, and I know that, like, there's all this suffering and these people, like, imagine it, mate, like, living on a front line. We went there for 6 months. Some of those locals, mate, like Musakala, they were literally, like, their town was a war zone for six years, in which, in the end, the Taliban took over again. So it was all for nothing. But there's still a bit of me that's like, oh, I'd love to go back. But even knowing that there's that horrible downside for other people, because I don't think like, oh, if I went back, something could happen to me. That actually doesn't bother me so much. It's thinking that, like, you'd say like, oh, I love it if we could go back, boys. But then what if one of your mates had taken a step to the left instead of a step to the right, and he's now dead? Do you know what I mean, mate? It's a fucking weird one, because it is. And having been a copious drug user, I can tell you that it is fucking very similar, because that those drugs you're taking have got a fucking downside, but you're like, but they got an upside too. And by the way, people listening, people wouldn't keep taking drugs if they didn't have an upside, right? They do have a fucking upside. And it's the same as combat. Like, people go back. The reason a lot of lads are still working on a circuit, mate, they're not working there for the last 15 years just because they fucking hate the missus and they want to be out the house that much. I mean, that might be part of it for some of them, but for most of them, it's being with a team. It's going out on the ground. Mate, one of the things about fucking gun ownership people never say is it feels good to have a gun in your hands. Like, and I say gun because we were both jimpy gunners, right? So, so I can say gun. So before people go, it's a rifle, fuck off, it's a gun, right? For us. And yeah, there's something, mate, about walking around with a fucking jimpy in your hand and a fucking day sack full of ammo that makes you feel fucking amazing. Am I right?
I'm just thinking, as soon as I got lost in holding the jimpy then.
But seriously, mate,
I'd be in big trouble, by the way, if we deployed and I was somewhere deployed with a jimpy now, because I am out that game fully. We'd be in big trouble now.
What's that?
I wouldn't have a fucking clue what I was doing now.
Oh,
I'd be up.
You know what, mate? I could still go through my fucking drills on it. I could still do my weapon handling test, I reckon. I could still pass a weapon handling test.
Oh, I can do that. I've passed that. I'm happy with that.
Because I think what has it been now? Like 8 years since I touched the jimpy. I reckon I'd be all right on it.
Yeah, I'd be in big trouble.
Sometimes I fall asleep thinking about shooting targets. Is that weird?
That's weird.
And by targets, I mean Taliban. But there's something like, that like I love. I mean, what I couldn't handle is if you give me 800 rounds right now and told me to walk up this flight of stairs here, mate, I'd fucking have a fucking embolism halfway up.
I'd be first up the stairs. I'd get there, I'd set the gun up, and I'd be like, that's me, I'm done.
Yeah.
You get that in the army now anyway, don't you? Those who make it on point are fucking predominantly the ones who don't know what they're talking about.
I sent some voice notes the other day when I was going for a walk, just no kit or anything like that, just going for a walk. Listen back to them, it sounded like I get fucked by a camel. Like, I'm so out of breath. I'm like, I'm like, fucking how the fuck did my face go downhill so much? But we'll come back on to the fizz stuff, because like I think it's very interesting to that difference in battle fitness and gym fitness is really interesting topic. Sorry, mate, I went on. I just got nostalgic for the gympy so much, mate. I do miss it. I do. I was looking for a picture to post yesterday, and I was looking at my pictures, and it's like this. It's like having that girl that you broke up with, and you know that you can never work out, but you want to go back to her. Do you know what I mean? Oh, mate, fucking miss it. Anyway, fuck, where were we? Before I got drowned in memories of nostalgia. Right. So your first Afghan tour, mate. Went out 2008.
So I passed depot somehow. I was one of the 9. 17. There's two more 17-year-olds, I think. I had Carl Fraser and Jack Marshman. People know him now. He's in the UFC.
Nice.
So those two turned 18 on the moment we got, and they went straight out to Afghan. So everyone else went straight out to Afghan. They was like, you're not 18 yet. And I think just before, a 17-year-old had just died.
Really?
In somewhere. And they stopped it. So previously, I think you could get a letter from your parents to say they can still deploy.
Wow.
They stopped that. And so they was like, you're not deploying until you're 18. And I was 18 at the end of September.
Right.
And they was coming back in October. And I was like, right. So he was like, so though you lot, there's your deserts, Private Chadwick, there's your 2s. And I was like, brilliant. So I basically, for 6 months, did repats and funerals. 17. Honest to God, I struggled more after that than what I did when I deployed 18 months later.
I think I know why the command does it, but I think that is a massive failure in leadership and command, having people do that, because that is a fundamental misunderstanding of a soldier's psyche. You already feel, so like when I'll use an example myself, mate. I did Telic 9 and 10 back to back, right? But instead of letting me stay in fucking in their all their wisdom, they were like, well, you've got to go back and do RSOI and stuff. So RSOI is basically they sent me back from Iraq to get trained for Iraq, and they sent me on the Afghan one, but that gave me the tick in the box to go back to Iraq. That's how the army thinks, ladies and gentlemen. And while I was there, the regiment that I was going back out to Royal Welsh, was in probably the most fighting they had that year, which was in July. And I felt like a fucking piece of shit to be missing that. Because one, for my own selfish reasons, I wanted to be in those scraps. And two, because there was lads dying. And I felt like a fucking cunt for not being there. Now, if I'd have had to do ramp ceremonies, that would have... I don't even know, mate, what that would have done. So leaders out there, right, you've got to think, you've got to put yourself in the shoes of people that you're asking to do tasks. And, like, people would think, oh, this young lad having to do these repatriation ceremonies, what it's going to do is make him not want to go on deployment. It's going to scare him and stuff. But it's actually the opposite. It's going to make him feel like a piece of shit because he's not out there doing his bit. Am I right?
Oh, and mate, I didn't feel worthy carrying those boys. I genuinely didn't. It used to break my heart when I'd see, there's people there crying their eyes out and coming up to me and asking me how do I know them and stuff at the funerals and the after part. And I was just like, what do I say to that? I'm 17. I left school literally 6 months ago. I was doing double science on the fucking Friday, P company on the Monday, then fucking carrying someone 6 months later. It was just like...
It's something that Army's got to get better at, mate, because it's like... mental health, mate, it's such a fucking... It's such a big fucking bowl of fucking messiness, right? There's no... Like, everyone has this idea of mental health is you were on patrol, your mate got blown up, and then you have mental health problems. People think that that's what mental health problems are. But I guarantee you right now, right, and there's no way of fucking proving this, but this is just what I know in my gut. There are far more lads out there who have got mental health problems for the reason you're saying there than have because of what happened on tour.
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff that gets you. It's being away on exercise and feeling guilty because you weren't around to go to your granddad's funeral, or it's that kind of stuff that really eats at people. Because we joined to go to war. We wanted to do that stuff. But it's those other bits and pieces, mate. It's that feeling of fucking helplessness or the feeling of unworthiness. Yeah. Because that's a massive one, mate, is the feeling of unworthiness. Because that's a very hard thing to shake off. Once that's in the back of your mind, then that's always going to be carried around with you. It's like, dealing with families. Again, at 17 years old, like those ramp ceremonies, mate, I'm a big believer that it should be volunteers, and but there's a difference between because sometimes people volunteer because they feel like if they don't, people will think anything of. So you ask for volunteers and then you handpick the volunteers. That's how something like that should work. Maybe it's even comrades that carry them rather than guys, unless they want to, unless they're friends. But the idea of 70, because that's what happens with every regiment, mate. Because all the lads are deployed. It's always like 17-year-old lads and a couple of the rear party. I bet you're speaking for a lot of people, mate, when you say that. So any leaders listening, just think about, those that little decision. Because to be fair, they've probably got a lot on the plate, the leaders. They're just thinking like, oh, right, we need fucking, we need some lads for this ramp party. Right, who have we got? Right, those lads, bump. There's not anything malicious in it. But that can have a massive implication for the rest of somebody's life, So yeah, sorry, mate.
So I hit that in 2008, and that was a struggle in my life. And like you say, just the unworthiness is, I wanted to be out there because I wanted to help them. I wanted to help the boys that were there. I wanted to do anything I possibly could to help the cause. And if that was the repats and funerals, then so be it. But it wasn't a nice time, and especially when they all came back. I went to meet them out in Cyprus because, to be fair to them,
what are the at Bloodhound Camp?
Yeah, because I had I was basically probably the only person not to deploy on that tour because I was the only person that was underage, and it just so happened the next people after me to be thanks mate to pass depot was in like the September as well. So there was no one I could turn. There was nothing I could do, and so they sent me out to Cyprus anyway because I knew most of the people who deployed. It was just unfortunate about my age. There's nothing I could do about that. But so I went and met him out in Cyprus, and I was just stood there thinking, the fuck have I just been doing for 6 months? What, seriously, what? If you think about the amount of funerals and repats I had to do, that it's ridiculous. It was like, and I struggled with that. And then, fortunately, I had a good group of lads around me. I went to D Company in Tupara, met a guy called Carl Marshall, ends up becoming extremely close friends with him. And funnily enough, a couple of years later, they wouldn't let me carry him when he died. So I carried everyone else. And when he died and we was out there, all I wanted to do was go back to Bastion to carry him, to see him on that plane.
Well,
they wouldn't let me.
Wouldn't let you off the ground. What was the reason behind that?
Don't know. No idea. I don't know.
Again, people. This is not people not thinking through the implications of their decisions.
It was the fact that what I'd done 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me now.
Yeah.
That hurt.
Yeah, I bet.
That broke my heart. That, and of everyone that died on that tour, that was the one that got me the most. For that simple reason. Not that I fucking earned the right to carry him, because I'd carried so many before. It was just the fact that I knew him, I was close to him. I now felt worthy.
Yeah.
I felt like I could. I wanted to be the one to have him on my shoulder, because I thought the people who are going to carry him, they don't deserve to carry him, because I've been in that position.
Yeah.
So I want to be that bloke. And they wouldn't let me. And that genuinely got me. It still does now. And like you say, people have got to think about their actions and how the implications of those actions can have on you.
It's one of those things as well. And it's like when you think like, you talk to the lads. It's something you talk about before you go on tour. And while you're on tour, you're like, oh, if anything happens to me, I want you lads to be the ones to do it. And, you lads, and, can you do this for me and you do that for me? But it doesn't happen that way, does it? Like, you're in the platoon of like maybe, and you're usually under strength. They're not going to send the 4 junior NCO mates of yours. They're not going to send them to Bastion. And I think now I look back on it, I'm like, why? What was so pressing that couldn't be done?
Yeah.
That you couldn't take someone's mates off the ground. And to be fair, I'll say this from my hierarchy, they were pretty good at getting the best friend of someone to go to Bastion and do that. They were good at that. I want to give them due credit for that, to be fair. And I've knocked my OC on certain things, but one thing I always say for my OC in Afghanistan was that he genuinely cared about the blokes. And that he was good at, like, there was when one of our lads passed away, there was 12 of us up in, we're up at a different fob. And they waited for us to come back before they had the ceremony and stuff so that we could be included in that. And I thought that's good leadership, mate. Like, yeah. He wasn't a good combat leader, but he was a good leader in that sense. He was a good human being, I think, because that gives you not closure. I mean, you never get full closure on these things, but it wasn't like, hey, where's he gone? Do you know what I mean? It was like, okay, because it's these services serve a purpose, dude. Like, people knock religion. I'm not religious myself, but I think I definitely go, when someone passes away in my family, I don't just say chuck them in the dirt and let's crack on. You want to have a service, and there's a reason there's a reason that we have those things, and that you look all the way back through human history, there's always been services. And the reason why is because it gives you something where you can draw a line. Not fully draw a line, but you can there's this demarcation of the person was here, the person they're gone. When somebody just gets, like, one of the things that fucks people up on ops, mate, is that you might go, you see a mate or whatever, or you see a mate, or you see one of the lads, you go out, there's an incident, you might not see the incident, because if you go out as a company, there might be a K away for you, and you just never see that person again. And you don't have, one of the things we don't get as soldiers, we don't get to go to I've been to one of my mate's funerals when he was killed in Afghan, because he was with the Welsh Guards, and it was the day we were deploying to Afghan. So I went to his funeral in the morning, then we flew out in the afternoon. So I was able to go to his. But that's the only time that I've been to one where of the people who are like comrades of mine that have been killed. And I never lost a close mate. I was very lucky there, but you lose comrades and you don't go to, it's just they're there 1 minute and then a Chinook comes in and then they're gone and you never see them again. And I think that's something that really affects people as well, is that we never, and to be fair, they put services on when you come back. And it's just one of those things that there's just no getting away from. But I suppose the difference is in the Second World War and stuff, or Korea or any of those wars, you buried your mates, right? Basically, it's like your mate, like you were on those front lines. You have a service. There's a reason that you go to France. There's fucking graveyards full of soldiers, is because they got buried behind the front line. So you could go to your mate's grave and, and I think there was that bit more of a closure. Whereas in the war since kind of Vietnam, helicopter comes in, mate goes, maybe they're alive. They might be alive the last time you've seen them, but then they're not. And I think that plays such a massive part in the mental health thing too, mate. There's these things about it. It's not the way, yes, as a society, are we, air quotes, softer? Yeah, I mean, fucking hell. I'm in shorts and t-shirts right now, and I write books for a living. I don't work down a fucking coal mine, right? My life is pretty fucking easy. But the warfare has changed too. And that is like these things of, obviously you want to get your blokes on a fucking helicopter, so, you know, especially if they're still fucking alive, you want that. But then there's going to be a knock on there because you've never had the closure. It's going to stay more of an open wound than if you've had a funeral, in my opinion.
No, I get that, and in terms of that closure, and you don't see him again. That day, that one time at Kyle, I wasn't on a patrol. I was on a rooftop on Overwatch. I was in a gun group, and when that happened, I can still to this day. And it's very rare to talk about Kyle. And it's, although there was more than Kyle who died in that tour, he's the one who sits with me quite, because I was quite close with him, and I can remember it coming over the radio. About KIA, and I was like, oh, fuck's sake. And I can specifically remember saying, please don't be Kyle, and please don't be Liam. A lad called Liam Duffy, he's from Liverpool. I was very close with him back in Afghan as well. And I can remember saying it to one of the lads. I don't know why, I just had this feeling that I didn't want it to be one of those, that because they was my closest mates then. And obviously then they read Kyle's Zap number out. And I was like, fucking, the tour changed then, dramatically. Gloves were off.
Well, you felt like there was some kind of like retribution to be had at that point, or like...
And that's where it dragged me back in. Right. I was invested in Afghan then. There's always going to be something there that holds me there. And I know out of the thousands that I've deployed to Afghan, they've got that same feeling as what I do, and there's always going to be something that drags you back to that place.
So when I got blown up early into my tour, and one of our lads died as a result of his wounds, and I dropped one of the enemy a few days later, and I literally said that was for him. Like, I felt that, like you do, like you see in the movies. Now, to be honest, mate, my feeling like that now has swung inwards, and it's now directed towards our leadership. At a strategic level, at a political level, because when I look at it, I think like, well, if I was in the shoes of the people I was fighting against, and this sounds weird, a lot of people, like, I have to put a caveat on this. The people that go around beheading villagers and stuff, obviously those people deserve a round in the back of their head and a place in a ditch, right? There's nothing about that. But for a guy that just picked up a weapon and came and had a go at me, and we had to go at him, I've got nothing against that guy. But the person I have got stuff against is the person who's now millions of pounds richer off the back of it. We got veterans living on the streets. We got lads struggling to get by. We haven't got enough mental health professionals. But fucking someone like Tony Blair, who was on 175 grand a year, he's now worth 60 million because he gives these speeches to banks and stuff that were, bankrolled off the war. And you're serving, mate, so you don't need to weigh in on this until you get out, and then we'll have you back on the podcast. But that's, for me, that's the same as you, mate. There's always going to be my investment to that. I was speaking to a lad, I won't give his name out, but he knows who he is. I was speaking to this lad yesterday. He was a tanky, and he was in Basra Palace at the same time as us, as a Telic 10. I don't know how much you know about Iraq, because I think the army's very good at covering up its secrets, even in the army. But basically, mate, what happened was the guys, including the Kingos on Telic 9, fought tooth and nail to pick up all these suspects in Basra. To fight the Jaish al-Mahdi and the other militias there. The lads were dying on a weekly basis out there. It was scrapping, mate, hard fucking scrapping. And then, without telling the Iraqi government, the British High Command made a deal with the militia. We pulled out of the city. We left all the people that had been working with us to get fucking murdered and fucking ethnically cleansed. We left all them. All the people that we'd fought to pick up in all those strike operations, and it was strike operations where people were getting killed. All those people we then released over the last 3 months of our tour. And lads died. Like, I can't remember, there's more than 5 lads in our battle group died on that tour. And like the 4 rifles lost lads. 4 rifles lost lads, the tankies lost lads. There's just, it was a hard tour, mate. And it was just like, all that was in the first 3 months of the tour, because the last 3 months of the tour was handing back these prisoners. So you imagine what that does to a lad when it's like, you've gone out and you've seen your mates bleeding and dying to bring these people in, and now the very same people who went out to get them, they're telling you to literally open a gate and watch them walk out to their mates on the other side of the river, who then do celebratory fire, aka fire over the top of our fucking Sangas, and we're not allowed to fire back. We have to stand there and fucking watch these people shooting at us while their mates walk out. And that, mate, is that's a betrayal. And that is who my anger is turned against. And I don't think that anger will ever leave me, and I don't know if your anger towards the people that killed your mate will ever leave you. And that's one of the things we have to be very conscious of as veterans, is that we don't then transmit, well, fucking hell, what am I doing right now? But like transmitting it to your kids, to your family, because what can happen is people become violent to the ones that they love because someone that you love died, that causes you anger, but then that anger can get transmitted onto the people that you love back home. So it's a very difficult one, mate, that we don't carry the war into our homes. But at the same time, I think acknowledging that it's always going to be there is very important, because the idea that you can totally get over the violent death of a friend, I think is ridiculous. I don't think it's something you can totally get over.
I don't think you can. I don't think you ever will.
I don't think. Why would you want to? Like, why? Because you're kind of forgetting them.
You get on with it, don't you? I mean, I haven't got that same anger as you in terms of the politics and stuff. I genuinely haven't. Yet, mate. I genuinely haven't. I when I was in Afghan and post Afghan, I felt supported. The people we was fighting, they was fighting for a cause as well. You know, and people are going to get hurt. It just so happens that people close to me got hurt. And you know, and that's not to say the other people who did get hurt that talk, because I've got the utmost respect for them, and I won't mention all their names. The one that sat with me was Kyle, and you know, it's that was for a cause that Kyle genuinely believed wholeheartedly, and he was a very, very good NCO. He led his men extremely well, and they've got nothing but positive superlatives for him. And I haven't either, and he knew what he was going into. We all knew what we was going into. We all knew the chance that we was taking, and what our beliefs around that was. Why we was doing it was all different. People for money, people for love of the country. It was all different, but we knew the dramas, we knew the cost, and we still went.
Yeah, mate, it's something me and Joe Lynn were talking about when he came in. That basically it was like, I still would have gone anyway. Even if I knew that it was to line somebody's pockets, I still would have gone because I wanted to fight. I wanted to be in those gunfights.
I had to go in.
Yeah.
Same. 2 years, 18 months before, in 2008, on Eric 8, which I don't feel I played a major role in. I had to go back. I had to go there. I had to get there. I had to go and do something to earn the right for carrying those boys. Yeah. I had to.
Well, I think as well, mate, you would have probably, if you'd have been a para and never deployed, you'd always be looking back on your life as like there'd be a piece missing, you know.
100%.
Like, and that's the thing, mate. Like that's my kind of thing about it. Is like I'm very much just like, I think life should just be straight shooting, mate. It's like if you want to fucking go somewhere, like when the Vikings went to raid monasteries, they weren't making up reasons behind they were raiding a monastery. They were saying we're going there because we want to take the fucking gold. I'd rather that just happen now. And they go, we're going to go there, and this is the reason. We'll pay you, and you know you can fight. Are you up for it? I'll be like, yeah, I'm fucking up for it. But it's the what bothers me now is when I get messages from 16-year-olds saying I want to serve Queen and country and stuff, I'm like, look, mate, if you want to join for yourself, do it for yourself. But like, don't think that you have to, like you're saying, mate, it's a job. And if you go in there and know what you're entitled to in the army, so get the most out of it. Go find out that you're allowed to join fucking Pathfinders. Find out about your learning credits, because like you can't expect anyone to come and do it for you. You've got to be proactive, because there's so much you can get out of the army, mate. So fucking much.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think that people, I'm just trying to like, when people go in now, it's like, don't think like I'm going in and I'm going to let the country use me. It's like, no, you go in and you use them and you get what you can get out of the army. And when you come out, put all those fucking skills to use and absolutely smash Civvy Street.
I mean, the platform it provides is incredible. Yeah. And I do advocate people join the army. I still do. I always will.
Same here, mate. I just think, I think that I advocate people going in about it smartly. Is basically the thing. Don't go into it thinking it's going to be your job for life. Go into it and begin your transition the day you join the army. Start thinking about what you're going to be doing in Civvy Street. I think it's massively beneficial for anybody to join the army, dude. And actually, to be honest, mate, looking back on it, I wish I'd actually done longer. Yeah. You know, I wish I'd done longer. But I don't see that, like, and I've had some fucking negatives from it, but they still, the positives still fucking outweigh them.
Yeah.
100%. And I've met enough guys who are amputees and stuff who say the same. On the other hand, unfortunately, there are guys out there who who've lost their own battles. And you know what, this might be a segue into something, because like one of the things we were talking about earlier is we were having a coffee beforehand. We were talking about how a lot of people don't like, and before anyone says, no, I'm not fucking victim blaming here, all right, so keep your fucking hair on. But I'll use myself as an example, right? So I'm not victim blaming, I'm talking about myself. When I was suffering most from my mental health, I was doing drugs regularly, drinking all the time, probably daily, wasn't doing any phys, wasn't meditating, wasn't trying to learn, I wasn't doing anything to help myself. So once I started doing those things, things helped a lot more. And one of the things we were talking about earlier is how physical health is so intrinsically linked to your mental health. So how did you, when you came back from Afghanistan then, did you find like your physical health, did you find like was there a tie in between your phys and how you felt? Did you feel better when you were training? Was it a release for you?
Mate, I'm a fucking machine, so I'm all right on that side. But in the paras, and people are aware that the phys is constant. You're expected to be at a high level of fitness every day, and you do a 10-miler every single Friday.
So just explain what 10 miles for you.
10-mile tab, exactly the same as what you do on P Company. So that's not the last one you do. It's a 10-mile tab. Carry about 37 pounds. Unless you're a sport company, you're going to carry more. 1 hour 50, so you run 11-minute miles, and you do that around Colchester every single Friday.
Is it on road or?
Yeah, it's like through a forestry block. So
right.
The camp's quite big as well, so you got a bit of time on there. But you fail that. It used to be, so it's a funny story. They used to, if you failed the 10-miler in the morning, so you'd go out, everyone would do 10-miler in battalion, everyone, 2 and 3 para both go out, and if you failed it, if you passed, you go home. If you failed, you do all the jobs, and you repeat the 10-miler in the afternoon, and no one ever passes that, and then you're on remedial then. And I know it's changed now, but that's how it used to be, and it's.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so
fucking awesome.
I used to be on the road. At Friday, I had to because it's about 6 hours away from my house. Friday at 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10-miler nips, straight home.
Yeah, I love it, mate. Like I love I always think when people like they complain when something like that comes up, I'm thinking, you're in the infantry.
There was no complaints.
That's amazing. And that, to be honest, mate, that nails on the head why I would recommend people join the paras or the Marines. Because you're around like-minded people who want to get thrashed.
Yeah, and if you are humiliated if you fail that.
Good.
It's the basic standard of a paratrooper. Is it 10-miler fit? Is the basic standard.
Mate, okay, right. What you said there is very important, right? Basic standard.
The minimum. Mate,
one of the things, when I came through the TA, right, to go to the regular battalion, I had to go through the mountain centre at Chilwell. And you do the CFT, right, which was 8 mile, 55 pound at the time. Or it might have been a short one because they were transitioning from whatever it was. The fact is, at the end of it, fucking hell, you'd think it'd been the retreat from Stalingrad. Like, people were fucking, like, high-fiving and hugging each other like they did. It's like, mate, you just passed a basic thing. Like, you should just literally finish, take your Bergen off, have a brew, and just crack on with your day. This isn't a big deal. What you've just done is not a big deal. And I think that, to be honest, mate, is why I love the attitude of the Paras and Marines. Because that's not a big deal. That's fucking just daily bread.
Yeah, it's a fucking 1 hour 50 chat on a Friday.
Yeah.
That you're going out having a bimble, having a chat, and with your full platoon, you're psychosocially building and you're physiologically building. So
hang on, let's dive in now. What's psychosocially building, mate?
So in terms of you building friendships, you're telling stories, you've been on the piss the night before, so you're shooting the shit about that. And that's a powerful tool. So
So I think anyone that's played rugby and stuff will understand that. They're like
exactly.
the
Team.
the bond like you have.
Bond.
When you overcome challenge with people, it cements you, and I think it's one of the reasons, mate, why people in like civvy jobs, they bond so much quicker when they've gone on a night out on the piss with each other, because it's been like an adventure where they, you know, like they've had this extra. It's a break from the normal physiology of the normal way of thinking, the normal way of acting. You see people strip bare a little bit more, obviously, when you drink, and you also see that in fizz. You see like people's real people come out. You know, you might see some guy who's always very reserved in office become an absolute animal on the rugby pitch, for instance. You know, but yeah, I think it makes total sense when you think about where we come from as people. Like, you know, the hunt, you know, and all that. It's doing stuff together, doing stuff physical together. It's like that's very close to where we're supposed to be as primates, isn't it? You know. But no, I like that, mate. I like that kind of attitude. So, were you a PTI at the time? Were you leading these things?
No, I was at one stage. So I went and done my so straight after that tour got back in 2011. Got posted over to One Para. I had some dramas after tour in terms of illness. So my time in One Para wasn't great. Went into the relevant carders. Got issued some nice kit, did some nice exercises, but my time there was cut quite short because I basically got 3 options. It was a serious illness. I won't go into it, but I ended up in Birmingham, Queen Elizabeth Hospital for quite a long time. I was getting blood taken out of me every 2 days. I had a couple of operations that squared me away, and by the time I'd finished that and got back, my boys had just deployed again to Afghan, and I wasn't deployable at that moment in time. I was quite ill. So those of you who know One Para, been to One Para, it's a ghost town. Everyone's on different tasks all the time, so you rotate around. So I said, send me back. I've got to go back. My head's not good here. I need to go back. I need to be, if I'm not deploying, I need to not to deploy. I need to not deploy with people I know. I need to be around people. Yeah. So he sent me back to 2 Para. Fortunately enough, it just so happens that one of the bosses there at the time, I was on tour with him a few months earlier. About 18 months earlier, and so he sent me back. When I got back, there's a bit of dramas with my report. So he's like, which is a big no-no in the army. He's like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "PTI course, fuck it." So when I did the PTI course, did okay on it. Got asked to go back on selection to become a Royal Army physical training instructor. I wasn't interested. That's when I found my love for fitness. Then I started reading a lot, and obviously I was getting fitter. And I was like, "Oh, fuck. There's only one place up. I'm gonna have to try selection." So I thought,
so you mean Special Forces selection?
Proper selection,
yeah.
not PT. PT, I fucking hate it when people say PT, like selection for PT course. It's PT course selection and selection. Because PT course selection, I'll come on to, is easy. But proper selection. So I started trained hard. Hardest I've ever trained. I was getting to a stage where I went into the briefing course, felt really good off the back of it, and it was a time when the unfortunate event of those 2 lads dying on the hills.
Right. And, was that were they going for 2-2 or the 2-1-2-3 was it?
I think there was reserves. I'm unsure, mate.
Yeah.
I can't
but like there was a lot of scrutiny on it.
So a lot of scrutiny. So there was like so briefing course was almost like it wasn't a pass fail, but they wouldn't let anyone on. On the next course, you had to go away. They gave you like a program, beat up and stuff. Right. And I was like, so I was one of 2 people to be allowed on the following.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, sounds, I'm on in the summer. And about 2 weeks before I went on, I got pulled off by my boss at the time, and he was like, "Yeah, I need you to be a 2IC in the jungle." And I was like, "Training?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "No, mate." Right. I was like, I want to go on selection. He's like, "Not happening." I said, if the battalion needs me to go and be a 2IC on a training exercise, we're in fucking big trouble. If you've got no one to fill my shoes to go and do that, we're in trouble. As a battalion, we're in big trouble. It's not happening. Anyway, I kicked up a fuss. I kicked up that big of a fuss. I got fucking sent up to Catterick as a PTI because I went berserk. I put everything into this.
Mate, I totally sympathise, mate. That is, of him then, that is, again, a massive failure of leadership.
Yeah, it was. And so he genuinely cancelled me on selection to send me to, and I was like, that you can't do that. It's career failing me.
Yeah.
And Hereford agreed he couldn't do that. He was allowing me on, but he was being explicit in saying that no.
He's still serving. Right, when you right, you definitely come back.
I never would anyway because he's.
I will.
I never. Yeah.
I'll fucking name and shame him.
No, but anyway, that was the start. It was an unfortunate event that sent me up to Catterick.
Yep.
And I thought that night I was like, so literally about an hour later, it was like, right, you're going to Catterick as a PTI. I was like, oh fucking hell. So I thought, anyway, I'll go to Catterick, loads of hills, train there, easy. Yep. But I thought, right, I'm not sitting still for 2 years. I need to go and do something. Anyway, that night I signed up for a degree, full time, affiliated to a uni. I thought, right, I'll do this. Binned my telly, started learning, and I thought, well, I'm pretty good at this. Selection got put on hold, and I kept going. By the end of the 2 years, my knees were fucked, but my brain was fucking pumped. And I was like, right, I need to. So anyway, I went on PT course selection as like I just went and did it. I was thought about getting out of the army. Then I just literally I didn't have a clue what it was. I turned up on the Sunday, having not prepped whatsoever. Fucking passed that.
Well, I mean, you had prepped. You just done a degree.
So I had backup. I could talk my way out of any situation because I'd got academic backup. Mm-hmm. So I went on that, and I was like, oh, do you know what? Fuck it. What I'll do is I'll go on probs, which is 9-month course. Get that in the bag. Finish my dissertation for that year, and see what happens. Anyway, so never stepped foot in a uni. Got myself a degree, and then got top student on the probs. As per, and move forward from there. And then I'm still here now. So I got sent to Chilwell, funnily enough, what you just said. Started considering the implications of physical training and how that's.
So what's up in Chilwell for you? What for you then?
Chilwell was I was like a brigade asset almost. It's very weird, Chilwell. So you've got there's engineers there. Remember the old OPTAG? They call that something different. That's there, and then there's like a brigade headquarters there. So I sort of bounced in between them. It's a very strange job, but it was a bit of a sleepy hollow. So there wasn't much happening or being done in terms of physical sense, and everyone was so busy. And I was like, well, how do I do it? So I started coming up with the idea about individualising training. We started running less, but people was running quicker on their PFAs at the time. We was spending less time in the gym, but I had 100% pass rate on every test we could do. Because we're just training specifically. Really, really simple shit, mate. But it was just specific to that individual there and then. So from there, I got sent up to Harrogate, and obviously a complete different social demographic from the people I had up in Chilwell with adolescents. So I started studying about how children adapt to physical training. And
because I'm like, we're not being demeaning when we say kids at that point, but your body isn't fully formed. Like,
they're not. So you turn up, mate, and you will look at them, and there's some blokes with a body of a 12-year-old. There's some with a fucking better beard than you, mate, a body of a 30-year-old. I'm like,
I played rugby against those fuckers.
Yeah, why would we train them the same? Why would you do the same shit? Yeah. So prehistorically, the junior soldiers trained exactly the same as the adults. Right. It wasn't working. So then what he did, he started training them as adolescents. But then they're all different. They're all completely different biologically. They're at different stages of their life in maturational status. And they had to teach them differently. So again, individualising training came apparent there. Just so happens there's another lad there. We formed part of a team in the PT Corps known as the Brains. His name's Ben Leach. He's probably one of the best physical training instructors, one of the best coaches I've ever met. The guy is a genius. And so we started building what is now the Common Military Syllabus.
Just talk us through that a little bit then.
So that is just with, as opposed to looking at someone chronologically, as in their age, we look at them maturationally. We look at where they are. So you've got pre-puberty, puberty, and post-puberty. So we look at their maturational status. Now, in that, there are windows of opportunity. So prehistorically, what we would do is they start tabbing early. And these people are going through growth spurts. And when they go through growth spurts, they don't understand their body in space because their limbs are getting bigger. So, we all know teenagers now, they're dozy. They bump into things, they fall over, they're fucking nuts. We start adding load onto that and sending them out the back gate on a tab. That's a recipe for disaster.
So it's an injury risk, is it? Because
Massively.
They're tripping over each other.
Exactly. So they don't understand their body in space without load. Now we add load, that's a problem. So they're there for 1 year. We have to utilise that full year. And that 1 year is only 1% of their training. So they've still got phase 2 to go to. Those are going on to specialist trade. They've got another 2 years worth of training. So that's 33% of their physical literacy platform. Utilise it. So we was like, right, looked at it, researched, and so we need to make them stronger. The window of opportunity at that time, so we went, did lots of research, and the youth physical development model was one of the main research that we used. And that states that there are windows of opportunity of people at different maturational statuses. And the one that we had, the demographic that we had, was strength,
right,
hypertrophy, building the muscles. And so we did it. So he was like, right, this is what needs to happen. We literally got let loose on it, and we started writing, and the program's now set. Musculoskeletal injuries have come down significantly. Pass rates have gone up significantly. But not only that, we've built a foundation now where these junior soldiers are not just going to have, like me and you, have fucking knees creaking, and we didn't get that platform. These kids are set up for life. Yeah. They're strong. They are good to go for a full 22, 24-year career. Nice. And that's what's most important. So we won't know the significance of what we've done until in 15 years' time, when these people are still injury-free and they're still strong as fuck. And these people are now in Hereford, and they're now the sergeant majors of the future and stuff. And that's when we'll see the fruits of our labour. But until then, it's just another training program, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I love it, mate. Like, what I really like about it is you've taken common sense and then backed it up with science.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a great thing, because
that's the only thing.
Yeah.
You have to back it up with science.
Yeah. And look, it's that seems like a very easy thing to do. But what's really impressive about it is how you've managed to get an institution like the army to change its approach, because
some people still haven't, though.
Well, yeah, and that though, again, is something that might take 10 years for it to happen, because the people you've had the impact on, they'll then pass it down. And unfortunately, there's going to be some dinosaurs who, are still going, they're still going to want to be doing what they did because that's their way. And it's one of those things I always use. I remember asking the question once. I was like, well, why do we always do, why are we always doing PT first thing in the morning? The lads are standing around in the cold for an hour on weight, and then we do why not do it in the early afternoon? Why not do lessons in the morning, this PT in the afternoon? Just asking the question, not even saying that's the way, but just asking the question. Well, this is how we do it.
We've always done it this way.
Yeah, we've always done it this way.
But we've always done it this way.
Yeah, they've always done it this way. And I don't think there's anywhere institutionalized more than the fucking army when it comes to, because look, there's a difference between tradition, which is great to pass down, always doing your section attacks with aggressive attitude. That's something you want to hand down.
Yeah.
But there's things with training I'm sure things have changed since I did do, but it used to be that you do a bunch of people, I remember when I first started, you do all static stretching before you start doing PT. Now obviously people are well, that's ridiculous. You need to be mobile, and but I think it's again it comes down the whole thing of who are your the leadership of that unit can be so key, because if you got someone that embraces this, that ethos can change in a year and then it'll stick. Or if you've got people that are resisting it, because it's their way or the highway, then these things can take a lot longer. And unfortunately, the people who will suffer that are the people who are going to get the knee injuries and the back injuries. Yeah. So you've been at Harrogate for how long now?
2 years now. Coming 2 years in January.
So okay, I got a question. What is so you're talking about the different demographics. How are you finding this kind of this hypertrophy with towards females? Because I follow some women on Instagram who are pretty fucking jacked, right? So like, there's definitely like the capability for women to get jacked, for want of a better word. How are you finding that with hypertrophy stage? Is there different, like, are you getting a similar kind of standard? Or?
So their windows of opportunity are slightly different because their maturational status is different. So they normally start puberty earlier than males. So they were going into early childhood. So we can then we then train them in a way that I'll go back. So prehistorically, they trained exactly the same as the males.
Yep.
And now we individualize training. What you will find is that the females are getting better. They would have a better increase in their percentages than the males, because fundamentally their cores are stronger, which is what we want. They move a lot better.
Why fundamentally the cores are stronger? Is that because child? Is that from because they need it
natural? Yeah, the cores are normally a lot better and a lot better standard than the males.
Right.
The male counterparts just fucking sack it early. But these the females now are shining, right. And obviously they have to, because there's no roles that they can't do anymore in the army. Everyone does the same job now, and rightly so. If you earn the right to do it, you earn the right to do it. Whether that's passing P company, commando course, whatever. If you've earned that right, you've earned that right.
Yeah, I think, is like my opinion on this. As long as standards don't get lowered,
exactly,
then I couldn't give a fuck. Here's a word from the guys that make this podcast happen. And if you fast forward, I'm going to shit in a respirator and make you wear it. So listen up. This episode is brought to you in part by Altberg Boots, specialist bootmakers who've been in the biz for over 40 years. So that means 40 years of developing the bestest boots that you're ever going to have on your feet. They're comfy, they're durable, they look alley. That's the main reason to buy these boots. Let's be honest. That's all we care about. We'd let our ankles go to ruin if it meant that we look cool, wouldn't we? I had a desert pair for Afghanistan and Iraq. One pair, mind you. They lasted for 3 tours. Pretty alley. I got a pair of the Warriors now, which are a bit more heavy duty. Love them for walking in. Again, look super alley. You know, I get a lot of looks off the sheep when I'm walking around. I'm the big man of town. So get after them. Oh yeah, also Dean Stott used them on his SAS selection. So yeah, you know, there you go. Proven, tested, battle ready, battle worn. Get them. Where can you get them? You can get them at altberg.co.uk. So head over there, take a look, stick them on your fucking Christmas list. Christmas is coming up. Tell people you want a pair of alley boots from Altberg. All right, boom. This podcast is also brought to you by Camouflage. Camouflage spelled with a K. Camouflage is a veteran-owned surveillance and investigations company. A brand you can rely on for their... that's ironic, isn't it? A brand you can rely on for their professionalism, integrity, and quality of work at all levels. Yes, this doesn't apply to the people that they sponsor. Let's talk about their website. Head on over to camouflage.co.uk because these guys are stockists of specialised surveillance, outdoor clothing and equipment, and more from the likes of Lawmate, Yukon, TRC Outdoors, and Luminate Designs. They also have a service for bespoke handmade ghillie suits, which is what you use if you're like a sniper, for you watch Call of Duty and you see people crawling around who look like a bush, and vehicle tracking systems. Yeah, they're pretty fucking alley. Got some really cool stuff. So go and check them out. Instagram, at Camouflage Limited. That's a full word limited as well, not LTD, you lazy bastards. Camouflage Limited, spelled with a K, and at camouflage.co.uk. Learn more about them. Support veteran-owned business. Support people who support the podcast. Let's make it one big happy family here. Go get them.
The females, and we work in meters per second. We work in percentages on resistance training. So these girls are moving what's specific to them right now. And they're doing really well. They genuinely are, and the pass rates are going up, and they go back. The injury rates are coming down.
Yeah, I think that's massive, mate. And to be honest, mate, like, think about it. That's probably one of the reasons you've been able to get traction with this from the command, is the fact that there's money to be saved in this.
They are 100%.
Like, a lot of money to
that's
be
being
saved
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the amount of money that Harrogate has is ridiculous.
Yeah, so just explain to people why the Army's going to save money on this thing.
Well, musculoskeletal injuries cost money. It costs people's time. You've got the rehabilitation side, that the moment you get injured, if you could put it into if we worked in Asda, there's no one stacking the shelves. There's no one doing the till.
Someone to stack the shelves. Get my books up there, mate.
Yeah. So someone else has to halve their job to go and do someone else's job. That costs time. It costs money. So just to reduce that burden on the army is significant, and to reduce it at this early stage, is unbelievable.
I think, you know what, mate? Like, I'll say this. I've been very against recruiting the army at 16, but what you're saying, I'm starting to lean more towards it again now.
The transition's incredible. If I was to go back again and I knew what I know now, and I had someone, without being arrogant, like me and Ben, who developed something back then, I'd have joined Harrogate. Because it sets them up. The transition's incredible. They go from, you got to think of our demographic. There's people there who are elite sports men and women, or they've got really good grades and they just solely want to join the army. But the majority of people have been expelled. They've got no family. Where they live isn't great. And they've got nothing else. They have to do that. So to get them to buy into your philosophy is a very difficult situation to be. It's like having, like being a school teacher, but everyone in the class is disruptive. Not that one or two. Every single person has been that disruptive kid. And now that when you see them 1 year later, it is nice to see. It's incredible. And the Army Foundation College is an incredible place. It really is. And I will genuinely miss that place when I leave in January. And it's because I feel that I've done some good work to continue that process, especially not only CMSA team, but what I've done with the paras and how that's evolved. So I think I am a massive advocate of people joining at 16.
Yeah, well, you're swinging me towards it, mate. Like I definitely think that like just setting someone up with a physical base for life is such an important thing. Like, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is like how people can get over being sedentary and stuff. But you know what? Like the other thing about fitness, right, is the confidence it brings into you as a human being. And obviously, like if you are fit, or if your body is fit, then I do think that has a translation to your mental health as well. But even that aside, just having like a fucking set of shoulders that you hold back, and that not like just feeling that you have energy that can be, you've got energy bubbling beneath the surface. It makes you all around happier. But if you've come from a bad background, if you've come from not having grades, if you've been told that you're a fucking loser by people in school, and that you then have this thing that the great thing, like you're talking about percentages and stuff, mate, you're talking about measurables. You can see there, like someone might have failed at everything that they've done in school, but all of a sudden they got something where they're seeing progress. And you realise that actually, I do have some control over my fucking life.
Yeah,
I think that's really powerful, mate.
They've been failed because everyone around them has failed them.
Yeah,
totally. They've not been there. And I've only now that I've done what I've done in uni and got my degrees in coaching, that everyone can be taught, but they have to be taught a different way. And I was one of those naughty kids as well, where I was the disruptive one. And then I think now, was that me or was that the teachers?
Yeah.
I do question it. It probably was me, but...
Probably a bit of both. It could be a bit of both. Like, look, mate, I was in school with some lads who were just cunts, honestly.
Yeah.
They were cunts. But then I think there's cunts, and then there's people who, did people just not, like, did people... Like, one of the ones now, I know so many people who are successful in business and arts now who were told that they never amount to anything, or that, like, I got told to stop writing war stories. Well, that's worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah.
That wasn't a failure on my part. That was a teacher. I mean, luckily I didn't fucking listen. To him. But I think a lot of the times it's individualization. The idea that you can take 30 people, or I don't know how many people are in a classroom. It's been a long time. If you can take them and then just give them all the same syllabus and grade them the same way, is ridiculous. It makes no sense at all that is the way that we do schooling. But mate, okay, I'm asking a selfish question here, but I think it's going to translate to a lot of people listening. I spent a lot of time working at a desk. I'm starting to feel my lower back's probably getting tighter. Definitely feel my posture's getting fucked up, get some pain in my shoulders. For people working at desks and stuff, what are the kind of exercises? What are a few go-to, if you've got a training program, what are the go-to exercises you got to have to negate the effects of sitting at a desk?
Trunk stability.
Right.
You have to improve the trunk. Core strength is significant. So the way you sit and the way you hold yourself is all done in that trunk region. Especially at the desk when you can fold in half and you literally, your core switches off, your glutes switch off. The longer they're switched off, that causes dramas. You need to switch them back on. And when we spoke over the coffee about there's alarms on phones and watches and stuff, but it's too easy to just switch off. You've got to take ownership. You've got to pick a time in the day, and if that's before everyone else, every normal human gets up for work, to go to the gym and achieve something and apply resistance, because you have to overload the areas to adapt. You've got to do it. You've got to take that ownership. You have to go and support yourself, because you're going to work to support other people. You've got to look after number one. And when you have got those kids, and you've got families, you want to be with them for a long, long time. And that is a derivative from physical training. Yeah. And it all starts with strength, a basic foundation of strength. Go and get stronger. Go and train that core. Get those glutes firing. So when you do go and sit down, you've earned the right to sit down. You need to sit down.
All right. So if you activate these things in the morning, are they working on even throughout the day then?
Can do. Yeah, it depends how hard you work. So there is science backing that up. So where your body's still working hours after fitness, there is science with that. That's not to say go and absolutely destroy yourself every morning, because that would be wrong. Yeah. The effects of that will slow down very, very quickly, and you'll end up going backwards. But just taking ownership. You said you go for a walk. Just doing that, going through the mountains and stuff. Just getting your body moving is good enough. And if that's all you can do, if you only have 20 minutes throughout the day, which we don't, because we've got 1,444 minutes, we're all endowed with the same amount of time. There's nothing more important than that body. That is going to get you from A to B. That's going to allow you to do the work. And once that shuts down and goes, it's gone. And it's very, very hard to get that back.
Yeah, I think one of the things we were talking about is, and again, this is probably something you've not experienced as a para. Unfortunately, it's something that I think most people agree that there are people in the standard of determination and self-discipline in a lot of units. I think most people agree varies greatly. So you're going to have lads in there who, if they don't get a chance to go and do phys in a day because they're on exercise, they are fucking pissed. Like, one of the best, I was thinking about this the other day, probably one of the happiest years of my life was when I was in the gym full time at Tidworth. And we used to, as well as doing the phys, leading tabs and taking runs and stuff, we'd do our own phys a couple of times, or we'd just take the ropes out and just climb up and down the ropes, or fuck around hitting each other with medicine balls or whatever we were doing. But it was constant phys all day. And I was thinking, that's probably a reason that was tied into being one of the happiest points in my life. But while there was a group of us doing that in the barracks, there was also a group of people who were avoiding at all costs doing any kind of phys. And the moment they leave the army, phys is done. And the fact is, mate, it does not take a long time to put on weight, to get tight in your muscles, to feel like shit. And then it's like, if you do take that drop off, to get back into it is so much fucking harder. Like, consistency, even if like it is just going for a walk or something, but the worst thing for people to do, one of the things that I don't like, mate, is the attitude of people. It's like, I'd like to go running, but I can only go twice a week, so what's the point? Well, the point is going twice is better than going fucking none. Yeah. So if you can only do 10 minutes a day, you can only do 10 minutes, but do 10 minutes.
Yeah. 100%. Take ownership of it.
Yeah.
100%. And those people who you said back in the unit who are not adhering to physical training, they're non-complicit in adapting their bodies physically, that's a problem. Because in the army, they have to be. Or as a tactical athlete, in all walks of tactical athletes, and I use that term in sense of firefighters, first responders, policemen and women, and soldiers, etc. There's plenty more, but you have to be physically inept to go and do that. And if you're not, you're a problem. You can't do that job.
Well, when it boils down to it, mate, you could literally get someone killed.
100%. But then a part of me believes that that's not only that soldier's fault.
It's not.
It's the physical trainers, the commanders. So that's where, again, individualising training. Take it away from them. Provide them with a program where they don't have to think about, because majority of people who don't go to the gym are scared of going to the gym because they're scared of the unknown. They don't know what to do. Well, then build them a program that tells them exactly what to do.
I think to be honest, people leaving the army because they've been given PT, like they've done a lot of PT, but they might not actually understand any. And I think that that's something, if you're in a leadership position, be that as a PTI or a platoon commander or a company commander, the more you can teach your blokes, the more you're going to do for them when they leave. So if they understand why they're doing things and if they understand what they're doing, so they're not just worried, they're not just rolling out of bed, having a fag and then turning up the gym and then just going, oh, thank fuck, that's over.
Yeah.
You're actually like making it a part of their life that they understand and reaping the benefits of. Because, look, some of them are just thinking, oh, we're doing this fizz in the morning because the OC's a knob. Well, it's probably not the reason. It's because he doesn't want your fucking shoulders and your fucking back to be fucked. Because he wants you to be able to be deployable, right? Well, you got to be deployable in your civilian life too, because do you want to be the guy that can't pick his kids up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So, what's if someone is in a unit, mate, and because obviously, look, the fact is there are some places that are better at others than getting after the fizz. If someone's listening, they're serving now, or they're going to be going to somewhere, if they ever feel like they're not getting this, what is is there like resources for them to get it outside of the chain of command, rather than them having to go to the boss and getting bounced like you did?
Yeah, so physical training's changing a lot in the army at the moment. It's getting better because there's people at the lowest level, the PT Corps, sergeants and staff sergeants, who now have degrees and master's degrees, very clever people, and they're putting that theoretical research and implementing that into a practical level, if that makes sense. I've gone a bit around the bush with that, but and that's good. So the unit PT is getting better, but it's still not great. So prehistorically, the PT Corps, you'd have a core bloke or woman in the unit. If that bloke likes cycling, the fucking unit cycling.
Yeah, Roger.
3 times a week.
Yeah.
If she goes there and she's a runner, that unit's running 5 times a week. CrossFit, we're fucking doing CrossFit 5 times a week. And that's how it was. But now there's got to be a platform where we can't do that because it's got to be specific to the job role. It has to be specific to the individual, and it has to be specific to the job, to the aim. And if you miss any of those, the PT program becomes irrelevant. So again, you have to individualise training. It is hard. It is not efficient. But it's beneficial.
Well, it's efficient long term, though.
Long term,
yeah, like it might take a bit more. Here's the other thing as well, though, mate. Right? Yes, we are individuals, but if you've made a program for, Private Smith, right? I guarantee you, in a year's time, there'll be another Private Smith who his requirements are that, like, it's a lot of work up front, but then it's there's tweaking and stuff that comes into it, really, isn't it? After a while, like it's work done now that will save work in the future 100%. It's like that work that you're doing now is going to be, you're not going to have to do the work for fucking him having to go to rehab and filling in that space in the platoon that you've then got to fill in. So it's all kind of like, it's like the same way as you can do work on your own body to prevent injury. If you do work on the individual, you will prevent an injury to the platoon. It's kind of that same kind of breakdown. Mate, I want to get your advice for some young listeners before you go. People who are listening who are they want to join the army, they want to go to Harrogate, maybe some of them want to join the RAF or the Navy or something like that. What kind of advice would you give fitness wise for young people looking to join up?
Same detail, mate. Just get strong. Build that core. You don't need to go running with weight. You just get strong. Get those legs strong. Get moving.
So we talking about things like pull-ups or that kind of stuff?
If you can do pull-ups, then happy days. Then that is coming back into the military. Thank God.
Yeah.
So we're getting pull-ups back in as part of testing. So you will be held accountable.
How many pull-ups do you reckon it's going to be?
It's going to be a review, mate. It's not going to be a test. So there's a new testing system come out called the Soldier Conditioning Review. Right. And that is basically where what should happen is you review someone's physical training at that moment in time and you create a program that will adapt them. So if you can't do a pull-up, your program might have more upper body strength so that you can pull that carcass of yours up, because that's quite important.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially that's a bare naked carcass too. It hasn't even got any kits on it.
Yeah, no kit. Yeah, completely naked. I won't get eyes on that. So get strong. predominantly in the legs, and because you're going to be on them a lot, more so than any other time in your life, whether that's just moving from A to B around camp, which is going to be alien to you, whether that's going on drill, whether that's walking from your camp to the gym, then back to the scoff house, then back up to your lessons. So you're going to be on your legs a lot more. So go and see what that feels like. Stay on your feet for a bit.
Yeah.
Get off the PlayStation.
Well, mate, that's a fucking great point. What's the longest people stand up for in a day before the army? Because you might literally be stood up for hour upon hour upon hour.
And if your legs aren't strong enough, that's going to cause a problem. You're going to,
It's mad.
It's
mad.
just a simple thing like that and go and build that core. Basic core exercises. Side plank, bird dog.
You can Google all these.
Yeah, plank. Thoracic curl-up's one that I'm really advocating at the moment. But again, just Google them and you'll see all them. Just really basic stuff, and just hold them for really squeeze them for 10, 15 seconds, then rest. Anything after that, you're starting to recruit other muscles, and your core's not working as hard as what it should be. Obviously, that time will increase the better you get. But it's really basic stuff. Everything I've done in the military in a physical development sense has been so basic. I've just done the basics really, really well. And I'll take that into every walk of life of mine. You can do all the special stuff, but you've got to have that foundation first. I graph like fuck for everything I do, so that when I've done it, I can move on. It's done, and it will hold its weight. Whether that's CMS 18, whether that's op Achilles, whatever that is, that will always hold its weight now, because we've done the graft and we've worked hard. Like you said, it's going to take a bit of time. It's not efficient to start with, but then over a few years, it's going to end up being efficient, and the work's done. So move on.
Hey, I love it. I think you've done a real service for the army, mate, in this, and for more importantly for the soldiers coming through, mate. So, I wish I'd had it come through, mate. Honestly,
So do I, mate.
But yeah, I think you've done fucking awesome work, mate. Where can people find you online, mate? We're gonna pick this up another time if that's all right.
That's cool.
Let's do a part 2 of this, mate.
100%, mate. So you can get me. So you can get me at Coach Mike Chadwick on any of the social media platforms. I'm only really an advocate of the Instagram stuff. I am on all the rest of them, but it's more Instagram that I've built a bit of a following on there. Basically, just by talking.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
you
that
do
day.
Great posts, mate. You do really good
post what I'm thinking about that day, and that's it. It's straight off the cuff. There's a bit of research behind it, and it's straight in. It's raw.
No, I definitely recommend it. I really enjoy it, mate.
Thank you, mate.
So Coach Mike Chadwick, yeah, I'd love to have you back on, mate. Thanks so much. Guys, if you have any questions to follow up on the podcast, go straight to Mike with them, and he's very good at replying to people and giving people what you need. But what I will ask is, when you send these questions to people, think first what you can learn for yourself, and then bring that forward, and then that will be beneficial for you, because then you'll get a lot more kind of a specific answer, because as you say, individuality and stuff is the key on it, bro. So thanks so much. Yeah, thanks so much for coming on, mate. Cheers.
Been a pleasure, mate.
Right, cheers. Love you guys, and I'll catch you next time.
Listen. Shout out Teaser. You told me not to worry, and you wouldn't break my heart. You told me you were sorry, yeah, my whole world fell apart. You said it's not my fault, and yeah, I've never done you wrong. I'm grinding to a halt, now I can see you're moving on. I promised I'd get better, and I told you things would change. You keep me to the gutter, yeah, I'll never be the same. I've got to let you go, now live your life and spread your wings. And yeah, you put on quite a show, and pulled the puppet strings. And are you sure that you don't want me? Remember all the pain, or maybe you should thank me. It's your loss and my gain. I'm leaving now forever, I won't hang my head in shame. But yeah, you've taken me for granted, and you should feel ashamed. You sold a dream to all of us, a dream that we'd all die for, a reason for us all to live, and something we could fight for. I might just help a man up to his feet or hold a newborn, but no matter what I do, my hands remembering my rifle, yeah.
Life's hard, I know that, still wouldn't change shit. I wouldn't go back, yeah, I wouldn't go back. Feelings I hold back, memories fade, yeah, they go fast, yeah, they go fast. Good times that come and go, survive the highs and lows, just take it step by step, I guess, yeah, I suppose. Good times that come and go, survive the highs and lows, just take it step by step, I guess, yeah.